Hello and welcome and namaste from New Delhi. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Gautam Roy. Coming up over the next 30 minutes. As NATO defense ministers meet in Brussels, US's Pete Hegseth expresses confidence that the alliance members would toe Donald Trump's line of boosting military spending to 5% of their GDP from the current 2% target. The African Union says Donald Trump's travel ban redux will harm people-to-people ties, educational exchange, commercial engagement and broader diplomatic relations built with the US over decades. And on World Environment Day, Prime Minister Modi calls to reinforce dedication to environmental conservation, plants a banyan sapling as part of the 700-kilometer-long Aravali Green Wall project in the national capital. NATO defense ministers are discussing how to meet Donald Trump's demand for significant increases in defense spending in Brussels, less than 3 weeks ahead of a key summit of the alliance at The Hague. Ahead of the meeting, NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte has proposed alliance members boost defense spending to 3.5% of GDP and commit a further 1.5% to broader security-related spending. He expects allies to agree on what he called historic new capability targets, adding that the goal is to better balance defense contributions between Europe, Canada and the US.
That will be a considerable extra investment, and this is why I predict that in The Hague we will decide on a much higher spending target for all the nations in NATO. Because we have to invest in our air defense systems, we have to invest in our let's say long-range missiles, we have to invest in our maneuverable land formations, command and control systems. All of this has to happen. And these mean huge investments. We need all over NATO territory. And by the way, doing this will also equalize what we are spending with what the United States is spending.
Rutte also said that there is a need to boost spending on air defenses, long-range missiles, land forces and command and control systems. However, details of the new investment plan will likely continue to be negotiated until the very eve of the NATO summit at The Hague. And NATO defense ministers have also pledged support for 5% spending target to meet new NATO targets. Latvian Defense Minister Andris Spruds said that a 5% spending is absolutely crucial. Sweden too echoed the same thing, saying it would like to see NATO reaching 5% defense spending by 2030. And Germany said it will need around 50 to 60,000 additional active troops under the new NATO targets. Besides, German Defense Minister Boris Pistorius said NATO should make clear in its summit declaration that Russia is its greatest threat. While Spain said that it stands by its defense spending target of 2% of GDP. Spanish Defense Minister Margarita Robles said this as pressure grows from NATO leadership and the US for the Mediterranean country to increase its defense spending. She added that what is important is that each country is able to meet the objectives it has set itself. Meanwhile, on the sidelines of the meeting, US Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth asserted that NATO allies are nearing a consensus on committing 5% of the GDP to defense spending.
Each country is going to make that determination, but this alliance, we believe, in a matter of weeks will be committing to 5%, 3.5% in hard military and 1.5% in infrastructure and defense-related activities. That combination constitutes a real commitment, and we think every country can step.
Now, this is another big global story. US President Donald Trump has signed a new travel ban, preventing people from a dozen countries from entering the US, reviving one of the most controversial measures from his first term. There are additional 7 countries, the nationals of which face partial travel restrictions. The countries facing the total ban have been found to be deficient in screening and vetting and reportedly pose a very high risk to the US.
US President Donald Trump signed a proclamation on Wednesday banning the nationals of 12 countries from entering the United States, saying the move was needed to protect against foreign terrorists and other security threats.
Today, I am signing a new executive order placing travel restrictions on countries including Yemen, Somalia, Haiti, Libya, and numerous others. The strength of the restrictions we're applying depends on the severity of the threat posed. The list is subject to revision based on whether material improvements are made, and likewise, new countries can be added as threats emerge around the world.
The move bans all travel to the United States by nationals of Afghanistan, Myanmar, Chad, Republic of Congo, Equatorial Guinea, Eritrea, Haiti, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Yemen. It will go into effect on June 9th. Trump also imposed a partial ban on travelers from 7 countries: Burundi, Cuba, Laos, Sierra Leone, Togo, Turkmenistan, and Venezuela. Some temporary work visas from these countries will be allowed. Trump said the measure was spurred by a makeshift flamethrower attack on a Jewish protest in Colorado that US authorities blamed on a man they said was in the country illegally.
The recent terror attack in Boulder, Colorado, has underscored the extreme dangers posed to our country by the entry of foreign nationals who are not properly vetted, as well as those who come here as temporary visitors and overstay their visas. We don't want them. Very simply, we cannot have open migration from any country where we cannot safely and reliably vet and screen those who seek to enter the United States. But we will not allow people to enter our country who wish to do us harm, and nothing will stop us from keeping America safe.
The ban will, however, not apply to athletes competing in the 2026 World Cup, which the United States is co-hosting with Canada and Mexico, as well as the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics. The proclamation is the second time Trump has ordered a ban on travel from certain countries. He signed a similar order in 2017. During his first term in office, Trump announced a ban on travelers from 7 majority Muslim nations, a policy that went through several iterations before it was upheld by the Supreme Court in 2018. Anamika Pandey's report, DD India.
The African Union on Thursday has criticized the new US travel ban affecting several countries, including 7 African nations. Signed by Donald Trump, the order bars citizens from Somalia, Chad, Republic of Congo, Equatorial Guinea, Eritrea, Libya, Sudan, Yemen, Afghanistan, Myanmar, Haiti, and Iran from entering the US. The AU has warned the move could damage long-standing diplomatic and cultural ties and urged the US to engage in dialogue. In Somalia, citizens expressed outrage, calling the ban unjust. A partial visa restriction was also imposed on 7 other countries, including Cuba and Venezuela. At the same time, Donald Trump has ramped up action against US universities. It has banned visas for all foreign students coming to Harvard and threatened to strip Columbia University of its academic accreditation, claiming it ignored anti-Semitism on campus.
In a furious escalation of his campaign against the academic elite, President Donald Trump has issued an executive proclamation banning all the new international students from attending Howard University, effective immediately. The White House order, issued late Wednesday, suspends the entry of foreign students to begin studies at Harvard for 6 months. The proclamation also threatens the visa status of current international enrollees, nearly 20% of the student body. The announcement follows earlier failed attempts to cut off Howard's access to foreign students. The administration has already stripped $3.2 billion in federal funds and vowed to exclude Howard from future government contracts. The Trump administration also issued a warning to Columbia University, threatening to strip its accreditation over allegations of anti-Semitism on campus. Earlier in March, the Trump administration put $400 million of Columbia's funding under review, prompting the university to implement new policies to address anti-Semitism concerns. Losing accreditation would deal a devastating blow to Colombia, cutting off federal funding, student financial aid, and research grants. The university confirmed it is addressing the concerns with its accrediting body while asserting that Colombia is deeply committed to combating anti Semitism on its campus. Bureau Report, DD India.
Russia will respond to Ukraine's latest attacks as and when its military sees fit. That's what the Kremlin said on Thursday, accusing Kyiv of state terrorism and confirming that President Vladimir Putin had told Donald Trump that Moscow was obliged to retaliate. Ukraine used drones to strike Russian heavy bomber planes at air bases in Siberia and the far north over the weekend. Russia also accused it of blowing up rail bridges in the south of the country, killing 7 people. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov highlighted comments made by Putin a day earlier about the railway attacks. Russia has not yet provided evidence that Ukrainian leaders ordered the rail attacks, and Kyiv has not acknowledged or accepted responsibility. The Kremlin spokesperson, however, noted that Putin had supported the view of Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov at a meeting on Wednesday that working-level contacts with Ukraine should continue. Let's now take a look at some other stories making news around the world as well. A large fire erupted on Thursday at a bus depot in Nicetown portion of Philadelphia. The SEPTA, that's the Southeastern Pennsylvania Transit Authority buses, were being stored in a large lot when several of them caught fire. Local media reported the buses were not in use and had been decommissioned. Muslim pilgrims gathered for noon prayers on Thursday during Arafah Day, the most significant day of the annual Hajj pilgrimage. Pilgrims will remain at Mount Arafat until sunset before heading to Muzdalifah to collect pebbles for the symbolic stoning of the devil, which begins on Eid al-Adha. The feast of sacrifice will be observed by Muslims worldwide on Friday. Hundreds of bus drivers protested acute fuel shortages, causing widespread queues at petrol stations in La Paz, capital city of Bolivia, on Thursday. This pervasive lack of fuel is attributed to Bolivia's ongoing economic crisis, exacerbated by a scarcity of US dollars essential for importing and subsidizing petroleum products. Satellite images released on Thursday show smoke and burn scars from wildfires raging in Saskatchewan and Manitoba regions in Canada. Over 212 wildfires are currently active across the country, with about half out of control, according to the Canadian Interagency Forest Fire Centre. Since early May, fires have scorched 2 million hectares of land, mainly in Manitoba, Saskatchewan and Alberta, mainly forest land. And it's time now to get to some sporting updates as well. Well, before that, let me tell you what's coming up next. NCC scripts history again, summits Mount Everest. And Sara Errani as well as Andrea Vavasori clinched the French Open mixed doubles title. Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Gautam Roy. Now, to mark World Environment Day, Prime Minister Narendra Modi led a special tree plantation initiative in national capital New Delhi, reaffirming India's commitment to environmental stewardship and green mobility. Prime Minister Modi planted a banyan sapling under the Ek Ped Maa Ke Naam, or One Sapling in the Name of the Mother initiative. The initiative is part of the Aravalli Green Wall project, which aims to reforest the 700-kilometer Aravalli range. The PM also flagged off 200 electric buses under Delhi government's Sustainable Transport Initiative, prompting clean urban mobility and symbolizing the nation's collective responsibility towards ecological balance. Also, the Government of India, led by Prime Minister Modi, completed 11 years in office. The government is celebrating the first anniversary of the third term of the government as well. And on this occasion, Prime Minister Modi shared a video on social media platform X. It highlighted the government's major achievements in the last 11 years. The PM said over the past decade, the NDA government has taken path-breaking steps to uplift several people from the clutches of poverty, focusing on empowerment, infrastructure and inclusion. All the government's key schemes have transformed the lives of the poor. Initiatives like PM Awas Yojana, PM Ujjwala Yojana, Jan Dhan Yojana and Ayushman Bharat have enhanced access to housing, also clean cooking gas or fuel, banking and healthcare. The push for direct benefit transfer, digital inclusion and rural infrastructure have ensured transparency and faster delivery of benefits till the last mile. Over 250 million people have defeated poverty due to these schemes. Prime Minister Modi further said that the government remains committed to building an inclusive and self-reliant India where every citizen has the opportunity to live with dignity. And the Prime Minister will be visiting the region of Jammu and Kashmir on the 6th of June, where he will be flagging off Vande Bharat trains. Besides, he'll be inaugurating the Chenab Bridge and he'll be visiting the bridge deck of the Anji bridge as well. The architectural marvel Chenab Rail Bridge, situated at a height of 359 meters above the river, is the world's highest railway arch bridge. It is a 1,315 meter long steel arch bridge engineered to withstand seismic and wind conditions. A key impact of the bridge will be in enhancing connectivity between Jammu and Srinagar. Through Vande Bharat train moving on the bridge, it will take just about 3 hours to travel between Katra and Srinagar, reducing existing travel time by 2 to 3 hours. The Anji Bridge is India's first cable-stayed rail bridge that will serve the nation in a challenging terrain. Now, millions of Muslim pilgrims from around the world have gathered on Thursday on the plain of Arafat for Waqf-e-Arafat, the central and most sacred ritual of the annual Hajj pilgrimage. Confirming the safety of Indian citizens, Consul General of India in Jeddah, Fahad Suri, stated that Indian pilgrims have safely arrived at Mount Arafat and are engaged in prayers. He also expressed gratitude to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for facilitating a safe and fulfilling pilgrimage. Muslims worldwide also observe Arafat Day through special prayers and fasting. Now, in a proud moment for the nation, a team of spirited young cadets from the National Cadet Corps have etched history once again by summiting Mount Everest. This marks the third successive NCC Everest expedition after previous victories in 2013 and 2016. The young mountaineers returned to a hero's welcome at New Delhi, bringing with them not just tales of grit and endurance, but also the glory of having hoisted the Tiranga or the tricolour on the world's highest peak. Take a look.
Triumphant cheers, emotional reunions and the NCC anthem. The arrival of the 2025 Everest expedition team at New Delhi was nothing short of a celebration. These 10 cadets have not just climbed a mountain, they have conquered every challenge it threw at them. On the 18th of May, the team stood tall at 8,848 meters, having successfully summited Mount Everest. In doing so, they proudly unfurled the Indian tricolour and the NCC flag, reaffirming the spirit of discipline, unity and resilience that the organization stands for. What makes this feat even more remarkable is that the Corps Summit team comprised 10 young cadets, all novice climbers. Selected through a stringent nationwide process, the group maintained perfect gender balance and had an average age of just 19 years. The youngest climber was only 16 years old. Facing extreme weather conditions, oxygen-thin air and unforgiving terrain, these cadets displayed an extraordinary blend of mental strength, physical endurance and teamwork. Their dedication earned praise from Sherpa guides and international mountaineers alike. The road to Everest was not sudden. The cadets first trained at the Army Mountaineering Institute at Siachen Base Camp, followed by a challenging pre-Everest ascent at Mount Abigamin. Based on their performance, the final team was shortlisted, ready to represent India's youth on the world's tallest stage. This mission wasn't just about reaching a summit, it was about breaking limits, showcasing the power of youth and reflecting the spirit of New India. With 3 Everest summits now under its belt, the NCC continues to lead by example in shaping disciplined and resilient future leaders.
The challenges we had was that the weather, it was very challenging. It was minus 40 degrees Celsius, and the cadets were very motivated that, already prepared for all the weathers and all the challenges because we have training before.
Mount Everest, I can say, is like a dream come true for us because as an NCC cadets, we are very truly grateful for the NCC who give us this opportunity to experience this adventures.
It was a dream, it was a goal, it was a stage to prove myself, and it was once in a lifetime and life-changing opportunity for me. And I'm very thankful to NCC, to DG NCC and everyone.
As the cadets return with pride in their hearts and snow-dusted dreams fulfilled, their achievement serves as an inspiration for millions across the country. The NCC once again proved that with discipline, courage and unity, no summit is too high. Kriti Vadhera's report for DD India.
The youth, they fill us with hope. Now, Sara Irani and Andrea Bavasori of Italy secured a straight set victory over Americans Taylor Townsend and Ewan King to claim the French Open mixed doubles crown on Thursday. The Italian duo were toe-to-toe with their opponents initially, securing the first set by a scoreline of 6-4. In the end, Irani and Bavasori cruised to victory as they clinched the second set comfortably 6-2. With this triumph, Irani and Bavasori claimed their second mixed doubles Grand Slam crown, with the first coming in the US Open last year. England have named a 14-player squad for the first match of a test series against India, which is set to begin on the 20th of June in Leeds. Bowling all-rounder Jamie Overton is set to return to the test lineup for the first time since earning his sole cap in 2022. Seamer Bryden Cass, Jacob Bethel and Chris Wokes were recalled after featuring in England's test tour of New Zealand in December. Gus Atkinson has been ruled out due to a hamstring injury sustained during the one-off test against Zimbabwe. Ben Stokes-led England will play a 5-match test series against India, which will culminate on the 4th of August at the Kia Oval in London. Saudi Pro League side Al Hilal announced on Wednesday that Simon Inzaghi has been appointed coach of Al Hilal. The former Inter Milan coach left the Serie A club on Tuesday after a humiliating 5-0 loss in the Champions League final against Paris Saint-Germain, capping a trophy-less season. The Saudi club did not immediately disclose any details about Inzaghi's contract, but Italian media reported that it could be worth up to $34.25 million per season. His first task will be to take charge at the Club World Cup in the US, where they will face Real Madrid on the 18th of June. That's all we have for this edition of DD India Live, but do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. And for those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India's mobile app. It's available on both Android and iOS. Just scan the QR code on the screen and download the app right away. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Gautam Roy from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.